Most people think turning 40 is dangerous because they do not have enough money. That belief is comforting, and it is wrong. The real danger at 40 is not your bank account. It is your strategy. At 30, effort covers mistakes. At 40, mistakes become permanent. Your body no longer recovers on demand. Your career no longer grows automatically. And the market no longer forgives repeated errors. Yet many people are still playing the same game, working longer hours, chasing hotter trends, waiting for one lucky break to reset everything. That approach worked when time was abundant. It becomes deadly when time is limited. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Life after 40 does not reward intensity. It rewards positioning. The people who struggle are not lazy. They are outdated. They are using a younger version of themselves to solve an older version of life. This episode is not about panic, and it is not about catching up. It is about switching strategies before the cost becomes irreversible. Because at 40, the goal is no longer to prove how hard you can push. The goal is to design a life that does not require constant pushing. From this point forward, every decision should make your future easier, not more impressive. That means fewer heroic moves, fewer all-in bets, and far more systems that work quietly in the background. If you get this shift right, the second half of life becomes calmer, more predictable, and surprisingly powerful. If you ignore it, life does not collapse overnight. It simply becomes heavier every year. This episode is about avoiding that weight before it settles in permanently. When you are young, luck feels like skill. A good market hides bad decisions. Rising prices forgive poor timing, and time itself gives you unlimited retrieves. At 40, that protection quietly disappears. The danger is not volatility. The danger is fragility. One wrong bet, one over-leveraged decision, 1 year of bad income, and suddenly there is no easy reset button. This is why relying on luck becomes dangerous after 40. Luck is temporary, systems are durable. A system does not require perfect timing. It does not depend on emotions. And it does not collapse when you have a bad month. Stories sound exciting, but systems pay bills. At this stage of life, money should arrive whether you feel motivated or not. That does not mean avoiding growth. It means refusing to depend on it. The goal is simple. If you stop paying attention for 6 months, your life should not fall apart. If the market drops, you should feel inconvenience, not fear. This is the shift most people never make. They keep chasing upside without securing the downside. They confuse optimism with strategy and hope with planning. After 40, hope is not a plan. A plan is repeatable, predictable, and boring in the best possible way. When money flows from systems, you gain something far more valuable than returns. You gain clarity. Clarity allows you to think long-term, to sleep better, and to make decisions without panic. This is how people quietly pull ahead, not by being smarter, but by being harder to break. From here on, every financial decision should answer one question. Does this make my life more stable or more fragile? The answer matters more than the return. At 40, your portfolio no longer needs excitement. It needs structure. Most people think diversification means owning many things. That is not the point. What matters is not how many assets you own, but what role each one plays in your life. A strong portfolio after 40 only needs 3 roles, nothing more. The first role is the foundation. This is the part that grows with the market without requiring constant decisions. It does not need genius. It needs patience, Its job is simple: protect purchasing power and let time do the work. When this foundation is solid, you stop worrying about missing every headline. The second role is cash flow. This is where freedom begins. Cash flow reduces pressure, it lowers fear, and it gives you the ability to walk away, not from work, but from bad work. Income that arrives regularly changes how you think. You stop asking, "How much can I make?" and start asking, "What is this worth my energy?" The third role is optionality. This is not gambling, and it is not about getting rich overnight. It is about staying relevant. Optionality protects you from a world that keeps changing. New technology, new industries, new rules. This role is small but powerful. It keeps doors open without risking the house. Here is the key insight. Each role exists to solve a different problem. The foundation protects time. Cash flow protects peace. Optionality protects the future. Most mistakes happen when one asset is forced to do all three jobs. That is when portfolios break and stress takes over. At 40, investing is no longer about maximizing returns. It is about minimizing regret. When every dollar has a clear role, decisions become calmer. Mistakes become survivable. And progress becomes inevitable. This is not how people get rich quickly. This is how they stay free quietly. For most of our lives, we are taught to chase progress, higher titles, higher salaries, more recognition. At 40, this logic quietly breaks. A promotion does not equal safety, and income alone does not equal stability. There is only one question that truly matters. If you leave tomorrow, does the system still work without you? If the answer is yes, your position is fragile no matter how impressive it looks. The smartest career move after 40 is not quitting your job. It is reducing dependence on it. Dependence creates fear. Fear destroys leverage. When one paycheck controls your life, every decision becomes defensive. You tolerate bad conditions. You accept poor trade-offs. And you confuse endurance with progress. Reducing dependence changes everything. Transferable skills mean mobility. Multiple income streams mean resilience. Autonomy means choice. This does not require dramatic exits. It requires quiet preparation, building value that travels with you instead of titles that stay behind. The goal is simple. If your job changes your life, should not collapse. This is what real career security looks like after 40. Not loyalty, not visibility, but replaceability in reverse. When you become harder to replace outside one single organization, you become calmer inside it. That calmness is power. It allows you to negotiate better, to say no when needed, and to walk away without panic. Freedom does not begin when you quit. It begins when you no longer have to fear staying. Most people plan their lives around money. Very few plan around energy. When you are young, you can recover from almost anything. Lack of sleep, long hours, bad routines. At 40, the body sends different signals. Recovery slows. Fatigue lasts longer. And small issues compound quietly. This is not weakness. It is reality. The biggest mistake after 40 is assuming tomorrow will feel like yesterday. Income can rise, but energy does not follow the same curve. This is why many successful people feel exhausted even when life looks good on paper. They designed a life that requires constant output from a system that no longer regenerates instantly. After 40, the real constraint is not time. It is recovery. Ask yourself 2 honest questions. If I stop pushing for 6 months, does my life fall apart? If my health forces me to slow down, does my income disappear? Most people avoid these questions because they already know the answers. But avoidance is expensive. Designing life around declining energy means building buffers, financial buffers, schedule buffers, mental buffers. It means fewer obligations and more margin. Not because you are giving up, but because you are thinking long term. The goal is not to do less. It is to do what matters longer. A life that depends on constant strain will eventually break. A life built with recovery in mind can last decades. At 40, wisdom is no longer about ambition. It is about sustainability. Most people believe freedom comes from having more money. In reality, freedom comes from needing less. This difference is subtle, but it changes everything. Margin is not excess. It is space. Space to think. Space to rest. Space to choose. Without margin, every opportunity feels urgent. Every setback feels dangerous. Life becomes reactive. At 40, this pressure becomes unsustainable. Growth at all costs eventually costs too much. Margin allows you to slow down without falling behind. It allows you to skip bad opportunities without regret. It allows you to walk away without fear. This is why margin matters more than maximum growth. People with margin do not rush. They do not chase every trend. They do not need constant validation. They move deliberately. Their advantage is not speed, it is endurance. Margin also changes how you see success. Success is no longer about accumulation. It is about alignment. Does your life support your health? Does your work respect your energy? Does your income give you peace? If the answer is no more money, will not fix it. After 40, the goal is not expansion. It is balance that holds. The people who truly win are not those who earn the most. They are the ones who are not being chased by their own lives. If you are already 40, you are not late. You are simply at the point where effort matters less than structure. The second half of life is not won by dramatic recoveries or heroic moves. It is won quietly, by people who adjust early, by people who stop making fatal mistakes, by people who build lives that do not require constant force. Stability is not boring. It is powerful. It gives you time. It gives you options. And it gives you peace. Most people do not fail because they lack talent. They fail because they refuse to change strategies when the game changes. At 40, the game has changed. And that is not a loss. It is an invitation to move from intensity to intention, from chasing to choosing, from proving to protecting. You do not need a comeback. You need a position that holds. If you build that, the rest of your life does not need to be loud to be successful. It only needs to be steady.